You know that feeling when someone calls you a friend, runs duos with you for months, laughs with you on stream, builds chemistry with you, and then the second it benefits them socially, they turn around and stab you in the back. Yeah, that's exactly what the internet just watched unfold with Luciyasa. And honestly, it's one of the most jaw-dropping cell phones we've seen in the streaming space this year. What makes this story so wild isn't just the drama, it's how quickly Luciyasa managed to destroy her own credibility using nothing but her own words. What started as her mocking a broke college student somehow turned into a full-blown case study on how to contradict yourself so badly that every attempt at damage control becomes more evidence against you. So let's rewind and set the stage properly. Luciyasa wasn't some random streamer loosely connected to the MarvelRivals tournament drama. She wasn't an outsider commenting from the sidelines. She was Kingsman's ranked duo partner. They played together constantly. They were publicly associated. By all appearances, they were friends. And that's why what happened next hit so hard. The moment other girls in the scene started turning on Kingsman, Luciyasa didn't hesitate. She didn't stay neutral. She didn't talk privately. She immediately sided with people she had never even met, throwing Kingsman directly under the bus in front of thousands. And the way she did it, genuinely ugly. Right after Kingsman was removed from the $40,000 MarvelRivals tournament, Luciyasa went live. And instead of showing empathy, or even basic decency, she chose to mock him on stream, publicly, for saying he needed the prize money to help pay for college. She replayed his words, exaggerated his voice, laughed about him wanting to win, as if caring about tuition, rent, and basic survival was something cringe, as if needing money was embarrassing. Let that sink in for a second. Someone you've been playing with, someone you call a friend, is trying to fund their education. And your response is to turn it into a joke for content. Even worse, Luciyasa herself is a college student, which somehow makes the lack of self-awareness even more unbelievable. But somehow, that wasn't even the worst part. After viewers rightfully started calling her out, Luciyasa decided to defend herself in the most unhinged way possible, by dragging an active geopolitical conflict into esports drama. Yes, really, she told her audience that supporting Kingsman was like supporting Israel. That comparison alone instantly detonated whatever credibility she had left. People couldn't believe what they were hearing. The mental gymnastics required to connect a MarvelRivals tournament dispute to one of the most serious global conflicts on the planet was honestly astonishing. And predictably, the internet lit her up for it. At that point, Luciyasa realized she'd crossed a line, and instead of doing the one thing that could have helped, which is simply apologizing, she went straight into full panic mode damage control. This is where things get almost comedic. She started stumbling through explanations, insisting that she didn't mean it like that, claiming people misunderstood her, even though everyone heard the exact words come out of her mouth. Then, as if that wasn't enough, she pivoted hard into talking about her charitable donations. She told her chat she's Lebanese Arab. She said she's donated more money to Palestine than everyone watching combined. She brought up having family there, as if listing donations somehow erased what she just said on stream. And that's where people really started seeing through it. Using charity as a shield against criticism isn't accountability. It's manipulation dressed up as morality. And viewers weren't buying it. You could practically see the moment the narrative slipped out of her control. But then, she really cooked herself. In one stream, Luciyasa openly defended Kingsman's removal from the tournament. She argued that organizers had bigger creators lined up and didn't need someone causing problems. She basically said if Kingsman didn't like the team dynamic, he should have just left. Clear as day, she justified his removal. Fast forward to later, when the backlash hits her, and suddenly the story changes. Now she claims she never wanted him kicked. Now she says she would have voted against it if she had known. Two completely opposite positions, both spoken on record, and people notice, because you can't say, he deserved it one day, and I would have stopped it, the next, and expect anyone to take you seriously. That's not growth, that's revisionist history. Then came the DMS. Luciyasa posted screenshots of private messages with Kingsman, claiming they proved she apologized and took accountability. But when people actually read them, the truth was obvious. Her apology wasn't, "I'm sorry I mocked you." It wasn't, "I'm sorry I turned on you." It wasn't even, "I was wrong." It was, "I'm sorry you got kicked." That's not accountability. That's sympathy without responsibility. And viewers immediately pointed it out. Someone in her own chat had to explain the difference between apologizing for an outcome and apologizing for your behavior. And to Luciasa's credit, she agreed. She literally said she should have apologized better. Which means even while defending herself, she accidentally admitted she was wrong. At this point, it became a pattern. Every attempt to clear her name only added another contradiction. Another clip, another receipt. Then she pulled a move we've seen before, claiming she was being targeted by racist and sexist comments. And yes, on the internet, there are always a few idiots saying inappropriate things. That's real. But the overwhelming majority of criticism wasn't about her identity. It was about her action. People were calling her fake, a snack, a hypocrite, because that's how she behaved. Deflecting valid criticism by spotlighting a tiny fraction of bad actors is manipulation tactic number 1. It shifts the conversation away from accountability and reframes you as a victim. And it's especially rich coming from someone who spent an entire stream insulting Kingsman, questioning his character, mocking his chat, dragging his name, only to turn around and cry about being mistreated. Eventually, Luciyasa even went after Basim, the tournament organizer. The one person who actually apologized publicly and acknowledged mistakes. And what did she call him? The biggest loser of all time. Let that land. The guy who owned his errors and tried to make things right was labeled a loser by someone who spent days lying, contradicting herself, and dodging responsibility. Even Basim seemed genuinely confused, pointing out that accountability is how you avoid backlash in the first place. Then came the final act, deleting VODs. Luciyasa started removing streams, seemingly hoping the evidence would disappear. But the internet doesn't work like that. Everything had already been archived, clips, full streams, timestamps, preserved on sites specifically designed for moments like this. Every contradiction, every bad take, every attempt to rewrite history is still out there. And here's the irony. While Cease initially got more attention in the MarvelRivals drama, Luciasa's behavior ended up being worse. Because Cease was never Kingsman's friend, Luciyasa was. She played with him regularly. She knew him personally. And she still chose clout over loyalty the moment it was convenient. And the internet hates snakes more than anything. Now for the ending she probably didn't expect. Kingsman is thriving. His Twitch and YouTube exploded. Support poured in. He walked away from this whole situation as the clear hero. Luciyasa, on the other hand, sponsors pulled back. Creators distanced themselves. Her reputation took permanent damage. She went from a rising name in the MarvelRivals community to being remembered for one thing only, betraying a friend for attention. That's her legacy now. Not her gameplay. Not her skill. Not her content. Just proof that when you sell out your own people, the internet never forgets. But what do you think about Luciyasa and the MarvelRivals drama? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.